Thanks, everyone. Just like Nevada, our Priska project in South Africa is a copper-focused project, but it is actually copper and zinc, so it gives us a little bit of an advantage that we have the zinc revenue, which is about 48% of our total revenue, sponsors the copper production cost. So this project came about 2014. We took a decision that we wanted to get involved in geological environments, specifically on craton margins, where you have these large VMS deposits and intrusive nickel copper deposits, very often close to one another. Did an exercise, went around the world and looked at a lot of fantastic deposits around the world. Unfortunately, as a micro-cap company at the time, we couldn't find something that worked for us. We had a fantastic greenfields exploration project over in Australia, and we still have our interest in the Fraser Range there, where we have a 30% free carried interest with the Independence Group that are spending $15 million Australian dollars drilling on our property this year. Independence are also our second largest shareholder in our listed company at the moment. We discovered this project in South Africa, and sitting over there at Priska in the Northern Cape. The Northern Cape of South Africa is unlike the rest of the South African environment. It's the lowest population density. Our closest community is 65 kilometers from the mine site. But South Africa is exceptionally well serviced by all your mining service companies and engineering companies and suppliers. So it's an ideal situation where you have power, water, roads, railway lines, servicing a mine site with a world-class deposit where we don't have environmental problems, where we don't have community issues, and the last employee left the site in 1991 after having mined a 47 million ton bulk sample, having produced 1.1 million tons of zinc and 430,000 tons of copper. This is a fantastic brownfield site where we're building a new mine in the footprint of a historic mine. And I'm going to take you through a video presentation because it's the easiest way just to talk you through what we're busy doing and what we've got over there. So, as I said, unfortunately this point is not very good, but in the Northern Cape of South Africa, midway between Johannesburg and Cape Town, and conveniently situated at the rail hub that services all the big ports in South Africa is Orion. That's the Orange River, the largest river in South Africa. We have a water pipeline feeding the site. We have tarred roads to the headgear. We have a rail facility 40 kilometers from the site. Those are our mining rights. The old tailings dam. Importantly, we have 170 megawatts of solar power already in place, and there's 250 megawatts of wind power being constructed. The old site was completely demolished in 91, leaving only the electrical substations, the water delivery points, and the main concrete infrastructure. So that's the main head frame. That's a 20-story building, a monster. That is the decline portal over there and the old concrete tanks. That's all that's left. And we use the historic site to build the whole new mine in it. So we have no new environmental impact whatsoever. This is the ore body, 2.4 kilometers of uninterrupted, continuous, massive sulfide. The explosive magazines are in place, 10 hectares of concrete drying pads left. That's where the 47 million tons was mined using this 1.1 kilometer deep concrete line shaft, 8.8 meters diameter. We have 35 kilometers of decline roadways in place to the bottom of the ore body. It's a syncline. That is the bottom of the earth for us. The ground conditions are absolutely superb. Right down to the bottom, there is no need for rock bolting. They mined open stoping in the past and left 25% pillars. We're going to be a cut and fill mining in this new ore body over here. The highest grade drill hole ever drilled on this ore body is right on the edge over here, 14 meters wide at 3% copper and 4.6% zinc. Having such a long strike, we can put in multiple declines continuing from the existing decline system. The pink is our reserves, the blue is remaining resources above pay limit. That will all become mined in the end. Our mining method, it's an average of a 10 meter wide ore body, Standard system of 2 drives, 30 meters apart, 25 meters from hanging wall to footwall over here. Long hole open sloping, you fire a drop raise through. You're cleaning from the bottom over here. We'll be using remote loaders quite a lot. Standard sequence of sequenced mining, removing everything from the bottom drive over here. And once all the ore is out after taking a cut, we construct a full wall, and we will be pumping our tailings back underground with 4% cement, and we refill the hole. That means we don't have to leave as many pillars as what they left historically. We will get a very high extraction rate. Then the standard method of moving the ore back to ore passes finds its way back to shaft bottom. There'll be crushers at shaft bottom, hoisted out of this concrete pillar over here. Kopi winder on the top of it, 7,000 ton stockpile on surface, milling plant over here, the concentrator plant producing independent copper and zinc concentrates. Now this mine, as I said, has mined 47 million tons. It had extracted 85 to 86% of both the copper and the zinc into top quality concentrates for the 20 years that it operated. And that's so important in the world of base metal mining. It's not what you mine, it's the quality of what you mine. We are being bid at a discount to treatment and refining charges on benchmark. People want our concentrates because there's a history of producing good stuff. Our crushed ore bins give us almost a day of concentrate, over and above the day of concentrate that we've got on the wrong stockpile over there. We go to a twin milling arrangement at the back over here, before going to our copper concentrators and the zinc concentrators over there. Thickeners at the back here, and then going into dried concentrate sheds. And from the dry concentrate sheds, in a moment we'll see that we go onto road trucks initially. Everything gets sampled and weighed at the site before it's left on the site. This video shows open trucks, but we're actually going to be putting it in boxed containers and sealed containers. Everything will be weighed, sampled, and sealed before it leaves the site, so the metal accounting is done at the site, at the mine gate. It then goes 40 kilometers on a tarred road to an existing rail siding. What an advantage to be able to have all of that infrastructure in place at no cost. It accelerates the mine development, and it brings down your capital cost to get everything established. Remember, we've got the power in place from the historical mining operations, water provision from the Orange River, tar roads, rail facility sitting over here. That's the town of Prisca over there. You'll see the rail facility at Crevier Pit in a moment. Very slow trucks that. We're not going to be allowing that to happen very often. Existing rail facility with concrete laydown areas to be able to load all the containers. And of course, the town of Prisca, this isn't mud huts and straw huts in the middle of the African plains. This is a proper brick and mortar town. It's a formal town, and it's got all the facilities we need. We'll be putting our residential camp in the town over there. And from there, we are ideally situated to go to either Kucha or to Saldanha Bay, 2 large ports. In fact, we can also use Durban and Richards Bay, and in fact Maputo. All of them are reachable from our rail facility over here. But at the port of Kucha, we've got the great opportunity that we can either put containers on ship at Kucha, or they can decontainerize. They tip the containers out into bulk carriers. And from there, of course, we are ideally situated to go, and this was an old video, so it's actually 170,000 tons of zinc and 20,000 tons of copper per annum in concentrates going to the markets. So just to recap again quickly, we've got this main ore body at the bottom here, that's the focus of our mining. We've got 8 million tons of pillars that we haven't built into our mining plan yet. That's not in our resource. It's not in our mining plan. And we've got the shafts in place. We've got all the facilities in place. We build the mine in the footprint of the old mine. We have the decline in place, and we've got the shafts to reach the ore body. What we are doing, and this is the opportunity of mining in South Africa, and I see Nevada, you've got so many South Africans on your board over there. They'll tell you that the hardest job of operating in South Africa is operating in a historic mining environment where you've got existing unions, you've got existing community relations, and they all bring a whole lot of problems with them. What we've got is a clean sheet of paper. The last employee left here in 1991. The current mines minister ran the National Union of Mine Workers on this mine at the time when the ANC was a banned organization. He was running the ANC at the time. He laughs, he jokes with me, we speak about all this time. He says this was a war. He won the war, but the mine died in the process. And our job is to build a new mechanized mine. And what we are doing is we are benchmarking to international standards. We're not doing any rocket science. There's no black boxes. We're not using any new processing technology. All we're using is modern machines and standard efficiencies that are applied in North America, in Australia. And we're using people that are currently working in those operations in the rest of the world. We're bringing them back to South Africa to operate. Sorry, yeah. So we're benchmarking internationally. We're in implementing enablers from day one to be a 4IR mining company, because that's the future of mining. That's where everything's going. We're not doing anything that's rocket science or anything that's not proven, but we're always ready to implement it as soon as it's proven anywhere in the world. We're going to be mining at 200,000 tons a month. Most of our production comes from reserve category in the early years. We have only done the study on the first 10 years of what we believe is a 17-year mine life. I just showed you the highest grade intersection was drilled on the edge of the ore body. That's not even in our 30 million ton resource yet. Project repays in 3 years on the 10 years that we've done the initial study. After that, you don't need any major capital to continue the operations going, because it's all pre-developed, your plant's in place, and the tailings facility's in place. So the foundation phase has an NPV or pre-tax of 1.1 billion Australian dollars, 819 million of free cash flow there. The NPV, 574 pre-tax, 408 post-tax. The reason why we show pre-tax in South Africa, we've got a particularly friendly tax regime. And all of our continued capital and all of our continued exploration is defrayed against tax. So it's actually an important investment criteria for us to show pre-tax financing there. We also finance the business out of shareholder loans. That gets repaid out of pre-tax money. Our peak funding requirement, 378 million Australian dollars, operates at a 44% all-in sustaining margin. That's a great margin to operate a base metal operation on. We continue with optimization. We see opportunities in a barite byproduct. We've got 8% of our ore is barite. We haven't even built that into the studies yet. Barite has been declared by the US as the second highest strategic mineral in the world, because without barite you can't do oil and gas drilling. And then we've got the remainder of the ore body to continue. That is the beauty of operating in these environments. We have secured 3,000 square kilometers of prime exploration estate, where the last EM study before we came was done in 1984, before proper EM studies were invented. The first two greenfields exploration holes that we drilled a massive sulfide VMS, and we drilled a massive sulfide nickel intrusive. That proves our exploration methodology works. And it's not because we're doing rocket science. All we're doing is we bring in international best practice to South Africa. And that is our story. As a company, that's the Northern Cape where we're operating. We've got 2 billion shares on issue, trading at 2.93 cents Australian. We've just done a placement for another $8 million, and we're busy restructuring some of our convertible notes and moving. So we'll have 2.3 billion shares on issue, a market cap of about $67 million, and we've got a project with an NPV of $574 million. Do your maths. Thank you.